Well, there's a number of good screen recorders. Do you know screen recorders? You know some good screen recorders, Brent?
Yeah, I'm gonna send a link right now. I think this is the right. Give me 1 second to make sure this is the right link.
Good morning, Isla. Let's see. I don't think your microphone is on yet.
Is it on?
Oh, there it is. Great.
Yeah.
Glad you could join. Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Let's see. I'm looking for the record button here, Ben. I can't find it. Why can't I find the record button? Yeah. Hold on a second, guys. Let me just try to find this record button. Start recording. Now. Okay, guys. Could we ask someone to take notes today? What we're going to do each week is practice, well, not practice, but we want to take notes so that if someone misses a webcast, there'll be a brief summary of what happened over that webcast, and also we'll have a page we're going to set up so you can access the webcast and check out what happened if you missed. So, Alex, do you mind setting up a text file, text edit, and just take notes, just real short notes, just the things you think are important, that if you missed a webcast, you'd kind of like to know what happened. Not the details, just the overall content, kind of like notes that are sort of like an index of what we went over during the week, and then each week we'll take turns taking notes. At the end of,
okay.
At the
I'm
end
not
of
the best
the
note
webcast,
taker, but I'll try.
Okay, well, it's good practice. Okay, and the other thing we're going to do, just to start every webcast off, is to take turns presenting what the goal of our particular project is, our development project is, and kind of the status, just to sync everyone's thinking on you know, what the project is, focus on the goals. During the year, almost surely we will ask you to help us present Build It Yourself at events at MIT or the Science Museum or a number of places that we're often invited to present Build It Yourself. And we like to invite our interns to help us present the projects they're working on. So we just want to be prepared to explain to others who are new to Build It Yourself what the goal is of the project you're working on, and maybe a brief summary of how we're going about doing that. So, Travis, do you want to take a cut at explaining what the goal of the mini game project is, what the problem is, what the goal is, and some of the qualities that we're looking for in game engines? And then Brent and I will try to critique your presentation of the goals and our progress so that you'll be prepared to present this project to our partners in the future.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Our problem is that people who visit our site aren't staying very long. And to fix that, we would like to have a game that will entice people to stay on the website. So that game would have to be graphically beautiful, quite honestly. It would have to be appealing. It would have to have great storyline, great game mechanics, and that will hopefully entice people to stay on the website. And with that game, we will cycle through maybe a game a week, a game a month, depending on how development goes, and that will hopefully make the website more lively.
Fantastic. Fantastic, Travis. You present that with lots of poise. Anyone want to add to what Travis said in terms of what's the goal of the game site and what's our strategy having a game of the week? Anyone want to add anything? I have a couple of thoughts, but before Brent, Alex, anything to add to Travis's? Peter? Mm-hmm.
That sounds about right.
Okay. All right, Alex. Great. Let me add a couple of things. Number one, Travis is absolutely right. We have about 10,000 visitors to our website every month and don't stay very long. So the first goal is to invite people, encourage people to stay longer by playing a mini game. The second goal is that if the mini games are cool, and maybe we post a little invitation embedded in the game to join if you like playing this game. We're going to teach you how to build new games. So a second goal would be we hook you to stay on our website. Then we want to compel you to join one of our workshops. Okay, so two goals. And beyond the qualities, the good qualities of any game that Travis mentioned, we also want to create game engines that can be easily modified. Hi, Nina. Good morning. So that's to say, for the trivia game, for example, it's one game engine, but once a month we could post one of the 4 games that we post could be a trivia game, and we could make that fresh by changing the trivia questions, changing the graphics, changing maybe the storyline, but the game engine would stay the same. That minimizes our labor to create, instead of 50 games to make a game of the week, or 52 games per year, we would only develop 12 game engines, and we'd cycle them around each month, but just change the graphics. Okay? Does that everyone on board with those goals and that strategy? That's the goals and the strategy of the mini game team. And we'd like you to be in a position to present that when we present Build It Yourself. Okay, anyone have anything to add to that? That's kind of the big picture of what this whole team is doing. Okay, great. Alrighty. So, Brent, I love what you did in terms of the scrolling background. Are you in a position to share your desktop and show us that, and let's critique
Yeah.
code? What we're working on now, as a team. I know some of you are working on individual websites, individual mini games, but let's try to keep these webcasts focused on one game engine every month. Last month, the trivia games. This week, this month, the 3D racing game or 3D adventure game. Okay, so let me pass the ball to you, Brent. And then after we review this, anyone who has an interesting game that they're working on during the week, we can pass you the ball and you can share with us what you're working on. Wait, so Brent has a slightly different strategy for scrolling backgrounds than I've seen before. Let's critique his code and see if we can make it. Isn't that amazing? Look at the 3D graphics here are spectacular, no?
It's amazing.
I have several different frames. I use Blender 3D to rotate by a certain amount of degrees so I can make a 360 panoramic view, just split up in between frames. Alex gave me a great idea. I was trying to figure out how to make the background scroll correctly, and to just have them like follow the variable, and then I have this kind of hide them. So as I go across, let's see, you'll see them kind of stack on the edge. But if I go backwards, eventually they will just go back to where they're supposed to be. But you never see this piece because the frame's in the way. Right now I have an asteroid. It doesn't do much yet. But what it does is it will grow. If it grows too big, above 50% of its size, before you turn away from it, it does damage. And I'm also going to make it so you can shoot it. If it's on the edge of the screen, if you move quick enough, it does no damage and it deletes itself because it's cloning itself. So basically, I'm just going to generate like an asteroid field coming at you, and you have to shoot them to destroy them or just dodge them. And that's the premise of this.
This is phenomenal. I love this. What do you guys think? Any comments on this?
It looks really cool.
The graphics, yeah, the graphics are just off the planet, so to speak.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Cockpit. It's really cool.
So let's analyze how Brent went about this. Let's analyze the code, and then maybe we can help him develop the asteroid to do what he wants it to do. So let's start. The background does nothing. We have nothing on the background. And so we have the cockpit, which is in front. Any code on that cockpit? Let's start with the simple stuff. Okay. Go ahead, Brent. Just explain what's going on. When we get this all right, we should put comments here so that people can make their own storyline and then add their own graphics. And we could post something like this. You know, every month we could post a version of this game engine. Okay?
All right. So the code, when you press the green flag, first thing is, in case, just to make it nice, press the green flag. I want the cockpit to go to 0, 0, be perfect on the edge. It's the exact size of the scratch screen. Then I hide variable rotation, which rotation, every time I hit left or right, it's on the first one, you can see right here, when I press left arrow or right arrow, rotation changes by 5 or -5, and then this screen, the background, it's a sprite that's the background, it will go to rotation. And then all the other ones have the code which slightly offset it by 440 pixels. And then when you receive space, it will go to its given position, even though most of them will just be on the edge. I wanted it to be so I didn't have to worry about if they're in front or behind each other. They all just go to the side. Also on the cockpit, there's a
I'm sorry, could you go back to that explanation?
yeah.
So you each frame when you
They go to the variable rotation. Let me throw rotation just for a second. So I clicked the wrong thing. There you are. All right. So as I move, rotation changes.
oh,
Let me just put this. There we are. All right. So as I'm moving around,
okay. So does each frame have a different offset when you start? So it's 440 is the first one, and the next one is great. Okay, fantastic. May I make one suggestion here?
yes.
One of the reasons I got a little confused when I first saw this and I was looking at it real quickly is the variable that's named rotation. I thought that you were doing something in terms of degrees, because my concept of rotation is, something is actually rotating 0 to 360 degrees. But in this case, is it not that rotation is actually X position? So you could, it might be clear to someone who's, trying to build on top of this, or what do they call it when you mix someone else's, a remix, right?
Yeah, you could call it positioning or perspective, I think would be the right word.
X position, it seems to me, is perfect, because that's really what it is, X position, no? Perspective is sort of like a little bit abstract. But you guys tell me, as if you're looking at this real quickly, does X position describe better what we're trying to control here with the arrow keys rather than rotation?
I think it's better than rotation, because rotation is what most people call which direction a sprite is facing in. If it, or facing left or right or up or down. That's what most scratchers, I think. Well, that's what I think of when I think of rotation. I think
Yep.
I think most of those would be better than that.
Right. Okay, so that's the first suggestion, Brent, is to change the variable rotation to X position. I'm not sure that you're able to change it that quickly. I think
It's already changed when you said it.
okay. You might have to go into each sprite to change that.
It echoes throughout.
Echoes throughout? Okay.
You can see right here they all changed to X position.
Cool. Okay, that's great. I think that's a new feature of 2.0, because I think if you change the variable in the old system, you had to go into each sprite and change it.
Yeah, I think that is a new feature.
Great. That's great. Okay. So one of the lessons here is we want to comment our code and name our variables, name our scripts, so that our sprites, so that it's very clear to a new programmer, to a new programmer exactly what's going on. I know sometimes when you're developing a prototype, you tend to do things quickly, but I would urge you to name things, even though it might take a little bit longer, and comment as you're going. Don't wait until the very end. Keep commenting your code as you develop it, and always try to name your sprites and your variables and your costumes as descriptively as possible, so that your code sort of documents itself. Okay, anyone have anything to add to that recommendation? Does that make sense? Okay, I'll assume unless I hear from you, we're on board. Okay, sorry to interrupt, Brent. I just wanted to, go ahead. So let's explain each sprite and see if we can critique it. This, okay, so,
So
mhm.
so all the sprites have the same code besides the offsets. The offsets are slightly different values. Once you see one of these, you saw all of them.
Okay. Oh, let's just make sure that everyone understands that offset. Isla, does the offset, the scrolling background offset, does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. What we're doing is we're positioning those background frames. Yeah, great, Brett. Thank you. Perfect. Perfect, Brett. Perfect. Okay. Etc. Great. Okay. And then, so these frames all start when you hit the go flag at a certain position, and then their X value changes based on how many times you press the arrow key. Is that a reasonable explanation, Brent?
Yeah,
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
no problem. All right. So
Okay.
all right. So the only two that are different. This one is the one where I actually changed the variable. I probably could have made it the exact same code and then put this on the cockpit or something, but as I was playing with it to get it right, I just put the variable here. That can be changed to be a little bit more modular. Then this one.
Oh, hey, let me stop you right there, Brent. I would urge you to do that. Anything that is sort of master control, like changing the variable, I would put that in the cockpit so that you really have modularity in all of your background screens, your scrolling screens.
All right, so this one is a duplicate of this one, just so that it kind of like overlaps. When you're going across, it's easier just to have two of the same on each end. And then what I did on the cockpit was when X position, wait, this is not even, no, okay, that was so weird. I think that was like a glitch. Just it was in place, but it was kind of overlapping the greater than or less than sign. When X position, the variable is less than -2635. As you'll see, if as I press right, it decreases by once it hits 2635, it sets to 0. When it's 0, it switches back to this one. When it's -2630-ish, it's on this bright. So this controls when it resets the X position, and by doing so, it kind of picture it being like a camera. Pull up Paint. All right, so this and this right here and this right here, those are the same background piece. When you're as you go across, 0 is here, -2635. Let's say that is like over here. When you get, that's like kind of in the middle. So once you go smaller, more negative than this, you're gonna reset to this side. So as you go negative, you'll go this way again. But if you go positive, if you go greater than 0, you reappear over here. So it's like a loop. You just keep switching between which end you're on. Does that make sense?
Okay.
That's what this chunk does right here.
Very interesting. So the scrolling platforms I've seen, you go to the end and then you stop. This one is very interesting because it loops on itself. It's a true 360-degree panorama. May I ask, Brent, if you go past 2635, can you just keep going? In other words, does it connect, go all the way up to 1,000,000?
No, that's what that does. It loops it. It switches. This game only goes between 0 and -2,635.
Okay. So that's
The variable is that. It's just kind of how it worked out when I was, plugging it in.
yeah.
you'll see that as I go to the right, it goes negative. As I go to the left, it goes positive. Now, right around, like you'll see that, okay, let's see, when it hits, I want to go past that actually. Okay, negative 2,635 is the maximum negative value. As soon as I go one more, it switches from this sprite to this sprite, I believe.
Let's see that.
So just swap the sprites. So even though it looks continuous, that's why I duplicated it.
Uh-huh.
And that lets me go full 360 repeatedly.
I think that's very clever. Have you ever seen anything like that, Alex?
Sort of, but not really.
Uh-huh. Most platform games, they have a start and an end point. This is, I think, very clever because it loops on itself. I've never seen that.
Yeah, I tried something a bit like it for one of my scrolling games, but it didn't really work out. This one seems a lot better.
This is a lot better than loop.
Coming from you, I take that as a compliment because all these webcasts, I know you're smarter than me at Scratch.
Well, Alex has a lot of experience. I don't know who's smarter, but
more experience, definitely, I would say.
You're both pretty smart. Smarter than me, anyway.
The picture side of things is where I am.
All right. Okay, this is great, Brent. I really love what you're doing in terms of your code and in terms of your graphics. It's just, it's a home run. Really great. Okay, let's look at your asteroids, and then maybe we can ask everyone to suggest some storylines so we can have a trailer screen or a trailer, a sort of trailer section up front that introduces the game. And okay.
This is going to wind up being like broken glass over the cockpit is what I'm going for, so it's the asteroid hits.
Oh, wow. How clever.
So you'll lose 10 health every time you get hit, so you can get hit a maximum of 10 times. When you receive space, like on the cockpit, when you click the green flag, this positions, and I have a loop attached to the green flag. But broadcast space happens, and then everything is set up off that, so it's more modular, so you can make like a title screen or things like that. I might even move this off of this and have this on broadcast space, but I added, I'm adding in the asteroid stuff this morning, so it's not, you know, as you go, you clean it up once you figure out if it's working or not.
Right.
So the asteroid, let me just show it. When I receive space, it goes to a position. I made sure that it would be kind of on screen immediately.
Yeah.
It goes to front and then back one layer so that it's behind the cockpit but above all the planets.
Uh-huh.
Starts as a clone. It points in direction 180. The reason I did that was just out of laziness. The shadow, I wanted the shadow to match the planet so it looked better.
Wow.
I could have just rotated the asteroid, but I was just experimenting, so I didn't worry about it yet. I just really wanted to get it working, and then go back and clean it up. And I also will probably make multiple frames of the asteroid so it looks like it's rotating. And I'm going to have it cycle to the frames to give it more of a dynamic feel.
Wow. Wow. Oh, hold on a second, Brent. This is really, really cool. Okay. So I love your idea of rotating the asteroid and so forth. Back up to where you start the asteroid. You started at the same place every time, right? To make sure it's on the screen?
Currently, it is going to be random. Like, the one will appear here definitely so you see it.
Yeah.
I want them, because you can, I love the new feature, the clone. This is my first time using it. I know you guys used it before. But I want at least like maybe 2 or 3 popping up at once, slightly out of sync, so you have to shoot them while you avoid them. So I don't want you to just turn the camera, you know, like rotate to the right and then you're safe. I want you to have to like, you know, blast asteroids into pieces. And maybe there's times where you can't shoot it, but you can avoid one and shoot another one. So there's a little bit more of a strategy behind the game, so you have to think about it. I put 50 as the max size before the event happens. 50, if it goes above 50, it begins getting close to the edge of the screen vertically, which is not fair that you just avoid it by getting big. So if the size is, I made a variable size that I hide just so I can see the asteroid grow. He is right around there. If it's greater than 50 and touching the edge, you delete the clone, no damage is taken. That event is basically if you rotate this way. So, if it's touching the edge of the screen, it's like it went by you and you missed it. But else, if it's greater than 50 the size and not touching the edge, that means it's coming at your cockpit. You broadcast hit and you delete the clone. Over here, when you receive hit, health goes down by 10. And once that happens, I'm going to make sure the costume changes to what I'm working on here. This should probably be swapped. I'm going to mess with this a bit, maybe make a little bit of red around the edge like your health get hit. And then, that will be that element. Then after I add in the laser, it's supposed to complete.
Wow. It's amazing. Might be interesting to see an alien rocket ship fly by every once in a while. There's just a ton of interesting things that can happen here.
Shooting a star, maybe, just in the background, random events.
Yeah. Oh, it's stunning, Brett. Really stunning.
You can do a lot of cool things with this, like the nebula, for instance.
Yeah.
These backgrounds are independent, unless they overlap, like this one kind of has a pen on the edge.
Yeah.
Nebula one, there's nothing on the sides of it. So if you want to make an animated nebula and leave the stars in the same place, you can have the background really interactive. Like the sun could have solar flares.
So you could make this nebula sort of vibrate by when this is just changing costumes, 3 or 4 costumes, and the nebula is sort of moving. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, that's like one of my goals is to like add a lot of elements that make it look really 3D, even though it's not. So.
Wow.
Even the cockpit, the buttons could be changed in colors. Maybe the one thing I wanted to do, but I wasn't ambitious enough. I might do this. 2 things that very time-consuming I want to do. Besides horizontal rotation, I kind of want vertical rotation for the cockpit. That would take a long time to program. And the other thing I wanted to do was, the shadow on this. As you rotate, I wanted the shadow to actually change in the cockpit to match the sun's location. So like there's some shadow coming into the cockpit, but that again would take a little bit more time than I had so far.
Wow. Your attention, your thoughts for detail are just mind-boggling, Brent. But it's the way a 3D graphic artist thinks. And one of the beauties of translating from, a 3D environment into a 2D environment is that it forces you to think about all the algorithms that happen sort of automatically in a 3D game engine. This forces you to think about a ton of computation that has to happen in a 3D environment above a 2D environment. It's great. Okay, what do you think of this, Travis? You guys are the.
I think it's really, 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 really cool. I love the graphics of Cockpit especially.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Very, very nice. Yeah. Okay. Anyone want to suggest some storylines here? I'll take some notes here. Let me share my desktop and whoop. I'll grab the ball back, Brent. Brent, you have to hand it back to me because you're a host.
Oh.
Thank you.
I already handed it back to you. And I think it says you're the.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, there are two John Gallinatos.
Oh yeah, there is. Which one are you, John?
I think I'm the top one.
Okay, that's the one that has the ball right now on my screen.
Okay.
John, your name always appears on the top on the
Yeah,
list.
we're gonna change that so that we have Build It Yourself and Build It Yourself too. We're gonna make 2 admin accounts this week. That's one of the things on the to-do list, Brent. But I'm not able to share my desktop, so I know I don't have the ball yet. Brent, can you give the ball to?
I actually passed it to the John Garnato at the top that says host.
Yeah.
No control over the ball anymore, but I thought I passed it to you.
Can you pass it to Isla?
Well, now the host or the other John Gallinato is the only one who can pass the ball.
Yeah, I passed it to the wrong John because I thought that one was you, the one that said host. So I don't know.
I don't have control, Brent. Are you able to pass the ball to Isla?
No,
Right
the
now, you have
host
control
John.
either. Only the other John Gallinato account, who's right now the host of this meeting, can pass the ball. Because only the person who that has the ball is the host can pass the ball. And
That's it.
the other John Gallinato.
That was you, so I passed it to you, and it wasn't you. It was just the empty person, I guess.
So the problem is I can't share my screen.
I mean, I'll sign out and sign back in as you, and maybe I'll override the other host. That.
Okay. All right, Brent. Guys, I'm sorry. I don't have control over the screen here.
Why do you have a second account that's hosting the meeting? Why don't?
I'm sorry, Alex. Say again.
Because it says there are apparently 2 accounts that both say John Gallinato.
Right. And I think it must be that the WebEx platform, some way, although Brent thought he passed the ball to me, he really didn't because I can't share my desktop. Let's see if Brent comes back on.
All right. So let me.
Okay, great. You have control over it now.
Did I pass it to the right John?
I think so. Yes.
So many John Gallinatos, I just don't know which one is which anymore.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. So let me just set up a notepad here. And okay, I assume you can storyline or 3D. I have a feeling that when others see your graphics, Brent, it's going to be a very, very popular stretch. There are going to be a lot of visitors to this game. Okay, so anyone, let's who, when, what, or where, and when, and what. Okay, typically when we encourage our members to write a game storyline, we ask them to answer these 4 questions in their trailer storyline. Who are the characters, or when maybe we'll start with when. So anyone want to suggest a line of copy for when? Make it dramatic. In the year, there's a song that goes in the year, a Beatles song, I think, or no, it's not a Beatles song. In the year 5424.
Ooh, 3271.
In the year 3271. Why that number, Alex?
I don't know. Most was random, except you know how most people say like in the year 2106, like 100 years from now,
Yeah.
like really future-y games. I feel like it would take at least 1,000 years to get.
Okay, cool. Okay, in the year, can we make this number rhyme? 32. Does something rhyme with 32? So we can maybe even turn it into a song. 32.
All of you.
32, that's 3 syllables. Can we think of another number that has 32, 64, 32? Yeah, those are interesting numbers. 32, 64, like octal numbers, right?
Well, I said 3271, but 3264 works too.
Okay, I know you said 71. Why 71, Alex? Is there?
I don't know. I just picked a random.
Oh, okay. 3264 is interesting because octal numbers are 8, and then the next one, 8 is 3 bytes, and then 4 bytes would be 16, and then 5 bytes would be 64. Get it? Yeah, 6 bytes. So 3264 is an interesting number. In the year 3264, so what is there anything that we could describe about that 1,000 years from now?
Ooh, could I suggest a storyline?
Sure.
What if like Earth was abandoned because I don't know, some disease or something?
Zombie chickens.
Like, yeah. And 500 years later, and they all went to, I don't know, say Pluto, or I guess maybe one of the gas giants. Somehow they lived on a gas giant.
Okay, this is cool. Let's keep going. In the year 3264, the Earth was abandoned because, what did you say?
Zombie chickens, apparently. I think that's what we're doing.
I think that's funny. Up to you guys, though.
Zombie chickens. Yeah.
Okay.
Zombie chickens?
Angry culture.
Zombie chickens invaded, or what? What did you say?
The zombie chicken apocalypse. A plague of zombie chickens.
A plague of zombie chickens? Because the plague, okay.
I think there should be a zombie chicken apocalypse. Well, yeah, that's kind of the point.
Because the
Apocalypse. Whatever floats your boat.
there you go. How would you word that, Peter? I love it. Apocalypse.
After the zombie chicken apocalypse, all the people fled Earth to try to find a home.
Hold on a second. After a zombie chicken apocalypse.
Well, anyway, my suggested storyline would be like, if they fled Earth to one of the gas giants past the asteroid belt, and 100 years later they want to go see if Earth is still ridden with zombie chickens, so they have to go back so they're sending a couple people to go back, but to go back they have to fly through the asteroid belt without getting, torn to pieces by the asteroids in the asteroid belt of the solar system.
Okay. Down the planet. So
you're basically the one steering the ship through the asteroid belt in hopes of getting back to Earth.
Okay, so humans abandoned the planet. They are now on a mission to return to Earth and rid the planet of the zombie chicken, something like that, or
or see if basically.
Okay, we can probably fine-tune these words to make it more dramatic, but on a mission to return to Earth to uh, 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 um, okay, we got to find a better way to say this, but that's a general. And, okay, Peter, you were going to say after a zombie chicken apocalypse.
So after a zombie chicken apocalypse, all the people decide to leave Earth because they don't want to become one of the zombie chickens.
Okay.
No.
After a zombie chicken apocalypse. Yeah. Say again, Peter, what you're thinking here. After the apocalypse, what happens? The humans want to.
Well, how about during the zombie? Wait, hang on.
Maybe you could write it out and put it in the chat box. Your thoughts. I have one comment here about the use of zombie chickens. It seems to me that zombie chickens would play better in cartoon-like graphics than they would in the realistic. It seems to me that Brent's graphics are so realistic that we need to make more of a Star Trek-like, or well, zombie chickens could be in a Star Trek.
It could just be zombie humans, not like chickens.
Zombie humans, yeah.
More off.
Yeah. Zombie is interesting because it's a takeoff on Minecraft, no?
Not really. Minecraft doesn't really have the rights to zombies. Zombies are plenty of games.
Okay, zombies are outside of Minecraft too, right? Good point out.
When I think of zombie, I don't just think of the Minecraft zombie.
Yeah.
If we said it was a creeper apocalypse, I think then that would be kind of stealing from Minecraft. But
Right.
an Enderman apocalypse.
Okay. Seems to me zombie humans or zombie aliens.
Zombie aliens. That's it.
Is that better?
Zombie aliens sounds a bit like far-fetched.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Then again, so does zombies. So why not?
Yeah. All right. So we have when and we have who. So let's put this up here. And what did they do? And so now we have who, when, where, what. So can we expand a little bit on what the mission here is? Earth to chase the zombies away, or how can we put this in a, something that's a little bit unique, something that and something also that plays to Brent's great graphics.
I like your idea, John. We have to chase the zombie chickens away.
Okay. Our mission is to. Okay, now how do we deal with the asteroids that this is an asteroid game. So
that's why I said that, like, they fled to a planet beyond the asteroid belt.
Oh.
And then, to get back, if they were like on Jupiter trying to get to Earth, they'd have to go through the asteroid belt.
Great. They fled to a. Well, I'm just taking random notes. Beyond. Well, mission is to return to Earth to chase the zombies away. Okay, Brent, chime in here. Don't be shy, because we really want to play to your graphics rather than vice versa. We want this storyline to complement the really elegant, amazingly realistic graphics you have.
Zombie chicken was why I chimed in with. I think that's hilarious. Honestly, I can picture a bunch of zombie chickens. Maybe after the asteroid, you have like a level of zombie chickens and spaceships. I think, even though it's realistic looking, I think that would resonate well with kids versus taking it too serious, which might be better for like older gamers.
Okay, Brent, perfectly said. Perfectly said. We have to think
Silly.
of the target audience here. 8 to 13 years old would probably be really turned on to zombie chicken. Whereas if we make it too serious, then we're starting to target an older group. Perfectly put, Brent. So your thought, Brent, is after the asteroids, then we could have zombie chickens. We could even land on one of the planets. We could land on the Earth, and then we could open up a whole nother 3D panorama, which is the landscape of the Earth. And then zombie chickens, we have to shoot the zombie chickens. Something like that?
Yeah.
Or would that be too hard to create two scrolling platforms?
No, I think yeah, we can keep swapping up the backgrounds and just keep recreating them. Levels like that.
So in other games that we work with kids, we have a space environment and then we have a planet environment. You land on a particular planet, and then you can explore the space environment, pretty much like we did with Isla last week. Alex, you and Isla were creating a scenario where you position your nose cone on a planet, and then if you land on that planet, you open up that planet.
Yeah.
I like that general concept of navigating a 3D environment, landing on something, and then switching to a new background. Okay. All right. So I have some notes here. I'll play with these and then pass them around, or Brent, you and I can play with them and we'll pass them around. So let me go back to you, Brent. We have a couple more minutes here. Well, let's take some questions before we're near the end here. I didn't realize it was so close to the end. Was anyone working on any games during the week or any graphics that they'd like to show us?
Sorry, I was away at a school camp. Like my class went to this, team building camp.
Okay, no problem. Isla, were you able to work on anything over the week?
Me? Well, I had the planets I drew.
Yep.
I didn't put them on to Scratch yet.
Oh, okay. We haven't. You haven't imported them into Scratch yet.
I didn't import the different planet
Oh, you already did that.
Yep, I have other ones.
Okay. If we pass you the ball, would you like to show us what you have?
Yeah, let me find it first.
Okay. Great. You have the ball. I think either you have the ball.
Okay.
Oh, good. Okay.
we already uploaded this one. But I like have other ones as well. Just haven't uploaded them yet.
Okay, so you uploaded those into your Scratch project?
No, I haven't uploaded these yet. I only uploaded that one.
Oh, okay. Well, may I make some suggestions? What if we try to work before you upload the other planets? What if you try to, this one, what if you try to add a little more texture to the planets, or make them more than just, you have green to black, blue to black, purple to black, orange to white. What if you make them to two colors, gradate them to two different colors, instead of just one color? Kind of like this one, you have purple to orange here, and then maybe add some craters, add some clouds. See if you can make these planets more interesting.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Kind of like what Brent did, add.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe that if you have time over the week, you can exercise your PowerPoint skills by making these planets, maybe even beyond them being ellipses, they could be other shapes. Remember the planets that we were working with last week? There's a star, there's a black hole, there's a fireball, a shooting star. See if you can add different shapes and make them look 3D.
Okay.
Okay, great. Anyone else want to show anything before we?
I added in the explosion.
Oh, you have an explosion to show? Okay.
Well, not explosions, but the smacks on the ship, the cracked glass. That's, let me just save this last change. All right, so let me.
Isla has control, and I can't get control back here.
Okay.
Pass the ball.
Yeah, can you pass the ball to where it says John Gell? Great. That's to Brent. Thank you, Isla.
All right, so
Wow.
I'm still working on the random generation, but if it smacks me, it does that for.
Wow. Wow. I think that the second asteroid shouldn't come up until the first one is completely gone, unless it's a different asteroid.
Yeah, I got to work on that. So that's why I want to have different rotations, like costumes and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And also, sometimes the bigger one shows up in front of the smaller one, or the smaller one in front of the bigger one, and unless it's just the size, it's kind of funny sometimes.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Amazing. Very nice, Brent.
I have a couple things that I have.
Sure. Let's pass the ball to Peter. We're gonna have to stop pretty soon.
Wait, hang on. Here. Okay, so this is a simple remix of the game that I showed off last week. So I thought was really cool.
Yep.
A couple graphical differences because I don't really understand the code of it that well. It's like the scrolling is really weird. Like I understand the scrolling code.
Okay, so next week remind us to make sure that you get that scrolling code.
Okay, so it's just a couple graphical changes. There's a guy that has right here. It says, "Help us, hero, your only hope." And then and the background is a lot more colorful and it has like a road and houses and colorful trees and clouds and stuff.
Great.
It's a little laggy, but that's just the way it is. It just takes a while for the thing to get up, but it gets up. The enemies also have all the enemies actually look different too. And before I put the code in,
the enemies didn't kill you if they hit
Oh,
you.
now they kill
So
you?
now they do.
Yay.
I win? No. No, I win.
I think that's
I
good.
Yeah, I'll have to try and fix it because I have it so that if I can get there, there is a thing where at the end you touch certain things and you win, and that screen shows up. So I'll try and get there.
Apparently,
Very nice.
somehow the code got to whenever you hit an enemy, you win.
Yeah, maybe that accidentally happened.
Don't get killed. Then the you win sign will show up.
But the enemies are actually pretty smart. One of them, the orange guy, he's actually followed me through almost the entire level before.
Amazing.
Did you program him to be smart, or was that in the code?
That was already in the code. They were really smart.
How about this? Let's make sure on the agenda next week that we start off with Peter's game and we go through the code to make sure we understand exactly what's going on.
Okay.
Okay? Peter, nice work. Glad you had found the time and took the initiative to remix this game.
Thank you.
Nice
Hang on.
work,
There's one enemy right there that's kind of hard to avoid. You have to do this because you can't actually jump over him. If you try, then he'll just jump.
Okay, we'll look at the code and see how they make the game interesting by making some enemies different than others. Maybe we can use that in the asteroid game. All right.
There is an end that I put to this game that I'll seriously you just respawn. Dang it. Go. Go on. Shoot.
Sure. I'm sorry we didn't give more time to you. I didn't realize you'd done so much work here. Let's hold this for next week, and let's show this next week. All right?
Okay.
This is great what you did. Thank you. All right, guys. Have a good week, and to be continued next week. Minigame team. All righty. Aditi, hi. Are you still there? Aditi?
Bye.
Bye, Alex.
Bye, guys.
Here. Bye, Isla. Hi, Aditi. Aditi, not sure we can't hear you. Oh, good. Can you talk now, Aditi? Let's see if we get your microphone.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yep, perfect. Oh, I'm really glad you joined, Aditi. I hope we have Travis and Nina still here. Terrific. Morning, Josh.
Good morning, everyone.
Aditi, you have got to see Travis's and Nina's personal webcast. Personal websites, excuse me. My
Yeah,
brain
I'm
is
excited.
spinning. I'm not sure, Travis, that you've met Aditi before. Aditi, do you like to say hello to Travis and share with Travis your background, your interests? You share some interests, actually.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I graduated from college in 2012 with a mechanical engineering degree, and I'm therefore really interested in engineering, also art and music as well. I play the piano and I sing as well. And I worked for a summer for John after my sophomore year in college, doing development work for him and building the audio music course. And now I'm doing some business development work for him as well.
Great. Thanks, Aditi. And Aditi is cousins with Nina, right? Say hello to
Yes.
Nina, Aditi.
Yep. Hey, Nina.
Oh, Nina, are you still there?
Yeah, I am.
Great. Glad you could stay. Okay, before we start, guys, let me go back to an agenda here. Oh, I don't have the ball. Yikes. Peter, can you pass me the ball? Oh, I got it now. I think I got it. Okay. Hold on a second here. Okay. So, one thing. Let me just stop this recording and start another recording. Stop. Okay, we're trying to archive our recordings. Let me start another one.
Oh, actually, I've been using the WebEx to record this meeting.
You're already recording it? Great. Fantastic, Josh. Thank you.
Yeah, I started recording at the start of the Scratch Games webcast, and it's just still going.
Okay, I didn't realize you were on. Okay, so that's why we have two recordings. Good. Thank you, Josh. Okay, so we should set up a second recording for this one. Can you stop that recording so we'll only have one recording for the Minecraft game team and one recording for the web development team?
Oh, okay. So, all right, sure, I can go and do that.
Okay. I guess, Josh, if you could take notes as well. Oh, hi, Andrew. Great. Glad you could join. Oh, I don't think Andrew's microphone is on yet. Andrew, I don't see your microphone on yet. Still no microphone, Andrew. Let's get Andrew synchronized here, guys, before we start. Whoops. Privately, sorry. Okay, I'm assuming Andrew's working on his microphone setup, audio setup. Hold on a sec. Can you hear us, Andrew? Okay. As we did in the first webcast, Travis, what if we do the same thing for this webcast? At the beginning of every, we're trying to reorganize or rethink the way we do webcasts. First of all, we're going to archive them so that if you miss a webcast, you'll have access to them on demand. Secondly, we're going to take a little bit more detailed notes of each webcast and pass them around, sort of a summary of what happened, not the details. And then the third thing we're going to do is before each webcast, we're going to ask someone, we're going to take turns presenting the problem and the mission for each team. So it's the case that during the year, Aditi can testify to this, and Travis, you too, that we invite interns and workshop leaders to present Build It Yourself at various conferences. And so we want you to have as much practice as possible presenting your projects to Build It Yourself partners, and in your case, presenting your personal websites to admissions directives. So to that end, what if does someone want to take a cut, Andrew, Nina, or Travis, on explaining what the goals are of this project to develop your personal websites, and what's our strategy? What are the hot buttons that we're trying to address with our personal websites? So Travis, you presented masterfully in the first webcast this morning. You want to take a cut at reviewing what's the problem and what is our personal websites doing to address that problem?
Sure. So right now, as we all are going through the application process, those of us interns that are doing that, we know that our resumes usually have more of a professional side to them. Our skills, community service, extracurricular activities through the school, et cetera, et cetera. We need our personal websites to give a more personal side and show colleges that we're not just robots coming out of a high school applying to their colleges. They need to see that we're an individual person, and we can do that through our websites by expressing our more passionate interests.
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Nina and Andrew, would you like to add anything to what Travis said in terms of what the problem and the goal is, and then also what our strategy is? What points are our websites trying to make that would be of interest to admissions directors? Imagine this is Aditi's first time joining this group, so let's try to think, what do we have to explain to Aditi so that she can be in a position to critique our websites? Nina, do you like to take a cut at defining the problem, the mission, and particularly the strategy? What things do we want to try to get across in our websites, personal websites, that we can't get across in a resume or an essay?
On a website, you want to demonstrate that you have a broad range of interests, but also a deep understanding of what you're doing, and you want to show that you're passionate about things rather than a resume could just sound quite boring. But in a personal website, you've got a lot more freedom to express what you're trying to say, so you should try and make it interesting. So yeah, I guess you're trying to make, using your personal website, you're trying to make yourself sound interesting and cool, and you're trying to display all of that. So you should make it like that, make it visually exciting, make the content actually interesting too, and yeah.
Okay, great. Andrew, would you like to chime in? Thank you, Nina. On what are the points we want to make in our websites that are difficult to make in a resume or an essay, or that complement your essay and your resume, that add another dimension. What else did we say here? Broad interest, deep interest, passion, unique, interesting, exciting. Demonstrate technical skills. This sort of plays to deep interest. But all of your websites are, by many people's measures, they're using state-of-the-art web design tools. It's very hard. It might be harder to get that across in a resume than if you show them, or if an admissions director wants to, has the skills to look into your source code. They will see that they're quite sophisticated websites. And also, since you're all applying to engineering schools, we want to, in particular, demonstrate your technical skills by showing them your website work. Okay, any other points we want to make? Aditi, would you like to chime in when you're thinking about a application to grad school or school in general? Any other things that you think would be useful or helpful to get across to admissions directors that are more difficult to do in a resume or an essay?
No, I think you guys summed it up pretty well, to be honest. I mean, it's really about that, as you said, what you can't get across on your resume, or displaying what's on your resume with a more personal flair. But this is something that definitely wasn't big when I was applying to college. So I think it's great that people now have the ability to really easily make their own websites, and that you can be doing this. But yeah, I think you guys summed it up pretty well.
Great. Let me add a little bit here to this new dimension that is happening in school applications. So I understood from Andrew that some schools don't accept entries for your application that are other than what they specifically ask for. But other schools very specifically ask for anything that can complement your traditional application materials. So for example, I understand at Tufts that they're recommending students submit a video because they say you can tell more about someone's personality and their leadership skills from a video than you could from a written from the written word. And Andrew, there's a program at WPI. Could you explain that program and what they're looking for beyond your school applications? I think, Travis, you may be applying to WPI also, no?
Yep, it's actually my top school right now.
Oh, excellent. So maybe you and Andrew will be classmates. Andrew's parents both went to WPI. Andrew, could you explain about the Flex program and how submitting materials plays to that particular program?
Sure. So Travis, I don't know if you've heard about the Flex Path, but that's an alternate way of submitting material other than, I think it's your essay and certain things. So instead of submitting like whatever it is, the essay and certain types of scores, you know, ACTs, whatever you can, whatever's on that list, you can submit a project and kind of or something that you really worked on. So for example, if I was to apply for the Flex Path, I could submit my website, and instead of looking at certain parts of my transcript from high school, they'd be looking at this project, see how in depth I got with it, and see how well I put it together, and they judge me based on that rather than like a essay.
Great, thank you, Andrew. Okay, so we're making the point here that websites could be a valuable part of an application to school, and certainly they could be a very valuable part of an application to a job. When I look at applicants to Build It Yourself, I almost always ask for a personal website. It's particularly relevant for Build It Yourself. Okay, Josh, any input, any observations would you like to add to this discussion before we review the progress that Nina, Travis, and Andrew are making?
I want to add in one thing, and that's just that even if schools specifically don't ask for it, there are always like optional essays or places that you can kind of put your website in, and I think that's a really important idea because then it really, I mean, it also depends on the admissions officer who looks at your application. So if they're interested in learning more and seeing your website, if they have it somewhere on your application, even if they don't specifically ask for it, kind of
Great.
there.
Great, thank you, Aditi. Okay, okay. So how about has Val, I was hoping Val could show her website, but she's not here. Oh, great. Hey, Michael, welcome. Oh, Val is here. Fantastic. So Val and Michael have not shown us their websites, their latest websites. How about if we pass the ball to you, Val, and you can show us what. Can you show us your website, and we'll try to critique it, make suggestions?
Sure.
Hi, Val.
Hi.
So, Aditi, for your information, Val is from Bulgaria, and she spent the summer with us. Maybe you met her this summer. I'm not sure.
I think we met.
Great. Okay.
So, actually, I don't think that I have made changes to my website after my time at DIY.
Uh-huh.
So here we have the homepage. We have that nice caption. And then a hobby page with, okay, so I will first show you what I have done and then what I plan to do, and then I'm open to feedback.
Fantastic.
And then here is a scroll with my photos and some poems that I've one English and in Bulgarian, and then a short video. This is under my hobby. And then the joke of the day, where we have the joke, today's joke, and then yesterday's joke, in case anyone has missed it. And then project, where we have the clock, and the resume. This is a link to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it opens now. But so yeah, and then some videos of things that I have done, and then a table that is about me, what I like, things like that. And then here, following this link, you click on it and you can email me.
Great. Okay. Before you talk about some of the things that you want to do, Val, could you present your website, the technology, where what things are database driven and what things are, you know, talk about use of CSS. In other words, present your website to make the point that you have deep interest in programming, in programming in particular, or web development in particular.
Okay, so I've written my website using HTML and CSS and PHP and MySQL and JavaScript, all the raw language, because I wanted to get deep understanding of the language itself before working with platforms that use them, but you know, go deep inside the language. So here my scrolling, it uses raw PHP and JavaScript and MySQL, and all these photos are in a database. And if you click on the photo, you can go to the next photo and to the next photo and things like that. The rest of the page is static, but so. And for the joke of the day, I also use raw MySQL and PHP to. I have a database with many jokes. If you want, I can show you the iPage server and how it's hooked there.
Okay, let's skip that for now and just critique the overall content and your presentation of the content and what you plan to do down the road. And then if you have, yeah, okay.
And so it's this website is something that I created on my own without using other libraries or any other products.
In other words, the scrolling script you built yourself. You didn't just take that from a library. Fantastic. Fantastic.
The only thing that I took from somewhere else was the font.
The font?
The Google font.
Okay, cool.
I took it from their website. They have a very, very rich library of fonts that you can use.
Terrific. So Val, what are the things you want to do to improve? And then maybe we'll ask what Aditi's input is, and I know, Josh, you've seen this many times over the summer, but go ahead, Val, explain what you plan to do, what you would like to do to your website to evolve it, or maybe summarize some of the suggestions Don Sachs made.
Yeah, some of the things that I improved after his critique. But here in the hobby section, I want to have something like the things that they do in Wikipedia, where they have content here in a table, and then you can click and see, or something that shrinks, and when you click on it, that enlarges, you can see the photos, and so that one can see further different sections that I have, and then they can choose what to enlarge, what to see.
In other words, you don't know what's down here, what's below this. You don't know to scroll necessarily. You might just look at your photographs and not see the poems.
When you see so much text, you just kind of bored
right.
and scroll down to the video.
Right. Okay. Good suggestion. I think Don Sachs made that suggestion too.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I want to improve is this, because this is very the project page. It is something that is very messy right now. And I want to reorganize it completely. Okay.
Maybe do the same thing, have a sub navigation at the top that so you can jump from one project to another.
Well, I mean, I want to change the content as well as the structure.
I see. Okay. Great. So, Aditi, Josh, any thoughts from layout to wording to overall content, the overall message that Val's giving, especially with respect to broad interest, deep interest, leadership, passion, making the site exciting, memorable, unique? Any thoughts? Josh, go ahead, Josh.
I mean, this sort of like an idea I saw from Travis's website, where the main page was, it sort of had like a news feed of what's been going on, his projects, and maybe that's something Val could incorporate into her website. Maybe just have something right on the home page that's telling people what projects she's been recently working on.
In other words, a news-like or blog-like box on the home page.
Yeah, it's just a thought.
Yeah. Aditi, any thoughts on Val's website, the color scheme? I can tell you, Aditi, did I give you a link to Val's YouTube music recordings this summer?
Oh, no, you didn't.
Oh, okay. I think you'd be very impressed at Val's singing skills. I will send those links to you. But I would surely, Val, add the music videos that you recorded this summer under hobbies, no?
That would be great. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Thanks.
Aditi, any thoughts, suggestions?
Yeah. So I think definitely, Val, what you were saying about trying to have some sort of overview at the top so that people know exactly what's on the page is definitely a good idea. So I agree with that. I also think in your hobbies section, if you talked about your hobbies a little bit, so instead of just having the photos or like videos, talking about like what you like to do with photography, like what kind of pictures you like to take, just so you have some background as to like, okay, these are my hobbies, but these aren't just, I don't know, basic interests. You're really deeply invested in them, and this is what you think about them.
I love that suggestion, Aditi. In other words, yeah, give the admissions directors some insight into your philosophy, your passion. Besides the pictures, it might be nice to have a subtitle that you know, draws them into the picture, or adds not necessarily a long encyclopedia, just a short summary.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And even on your project section, I think that applies as well. Maybe even especially on the project section. So talking about the project a little bit, background, like what it's about before you, and then saying, here's a video of the presentation I did.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nice, Val. Any other comments before we pass the ball to Michael? Michael, do you have any thoughts about Val's website? Hold on a second.
Yeah, I think he might have left.
Oh, too bad. Okay. Too bad. All right. Okay. How about if we let's try to pass the ball quickly to, or not quickly, but we have 10 minutes each, to Nina, Travis, and Andrew, just to get, if they've had a chance to update anything since we last talked, so we can sort of follow their progress. Nina, do you have time over the week to add any more content to your structure?
Just added a, you know, last week we were talking about having a subtitle on the project. So I've added that, but I haven't done much else.
Okay. Well, just for the benefit of Aditi, to get Aditi's feedback, I'll pass the ball to you. What if we share what you've done and explain to Aditi, present your website. Just present it. Imagine that Aditi is an admissions director, and you're in an interview with an admissions director. How would you present your website as one of your, as an example of breadth of knowledge, depth of knowledge, passion, leadership, uniqueness?
Yes. So I basically, this is the home page. I try to keep the whole concept of the website quite simple. So putting the things which I consider most important there and not much else. So I put a short bio here, a quote. I could always change that to something like if I had a project that I was working on that I was particularly proud of, it could be linked to that or something important. Then the little thing here is links to different social media. So that's Flickr, no, that's Twitter, Flickr, GitHub, and my email. And then this displays the 6 most recent projects. There's only 5, which is why it's only displaying 5. But if you click on stuff I've done, then it would show you all of them. So I'm working on adding more, but that's all database driven. So you can create a new project fairly easily, like this. And then it comes up and you've got a new project. Then if you go on here, that will have a like a description of the project, and then I can add images to it and stuff. So onto the slideshow, if I add that a picture, I don't know. And now on this slideshow, you've got 2 different pictures which crop themselves quite neatly. And then that doesn't have a link yet, but it will. Actually, I should be able to add a link.
So can you explain to Nina the tool that you're using and why what its advantages are of coding directly in HTML?
I'm using Ruby on Rails to develop the whole website. I like it because it's pretty great. It's like really fast to create websites, and especially if you're doing something which is Rails considers like normal, then it's really easy. But if you're doing weird stuff, then it's not so great. And I'm also using Bootstrap, which is like a CSS library, which it helps with the grid system, and it lets you make it responsive, so it'll look good on like any device. Like so, it's pretty neat. I like it. Yeah.
It's always difficult to get a website to play on different devices and different screen sizes.
Yeah, Rails makes it quite nice. I like Rails. Rails is great. Well, Bootstrap, it works with anything. You can get Bootstrap running on anything, but it plays really nicely with Rails. And then, yeah, I'm working on a blog as well. I was going to have something that was built into the website, and I had a look at a couple of different options, but I wasn't really a fan. So at the minute, I'm thinking I'm going to use Medium, which is here, but we'll see.
Just jump to WordPress or jump to an existing blog.
Yeah, I mean, Medium's an existing blog site, and I quite like it because it's very like clean and simple. Because I was looking at WordPress, and it has too many options. Like it's too complicated for my liking. I'm not a fan.
Great. Okay. Could you comment a little bit on any thoughts about Ruby on Rails versus Val? I know you've studied Drupal. Could we have just a brief discussion? Maybe Josh, you can summarize these too. What are the pros and cons of using tools like Drupal and Ruby on Rails, which are probably, going to be website development tools that will be more and more popular?
Isn't Drupal a content management system? Because Ruby on Rails is a framework. So, yeah, I think they're quite different. I might be wrong, but...
Val, can you comment on the difference between Ruby on Rails and Drupal?
I don't think that I have used either of them, but they seem to be different because Drupal is content management and Ruby.
Drupal is also a content management system?
It is mainly a content management system.
Okay. So I had heard that Ruby on Rails, the library of code blocks, the library of modules you can use in Ruby on Rails is more stable than the library of Drupal. Have you heard that, Val? In other words, I've heard someone who knows both of them say that in Drupal, when you bring in libraries that do this or do that, JavaScript libraries, or that some of them are not as reliable as the libraries that you might find in Ruby on Rails. Josh, have you heard anything like that, or?
To be honest, I haven't really looked into Ruby on Rails or Drupal myself, so I'm not really the person to ask.
Okay. That could be pure rumor, but an MIT CS guy told me that he likes Ruby on Rails better than Drupal, just because it's more reliable. The code is more stable. Okay, but the Drupal community is growing for sure, and okay, this is great, Nina. Any other thoughts before we pass the ball on Nina's website? We're particularly interested in suggestions that could, make Nina's website even better, or target better those particular qualities that we think admissions directors are looking for. Okay. Yep, someone going to say something? No. Okay. Great, Nina. Andrew, have you had a chance to work on your website over the week?
Yeah, I had a little bit of time. I actually fixed the problem that I was having earlier with the format of the website.
Okay, that was beyond what we did last week with the suggestions that Josh made.
What do you mean by that?
We were trying to fix the problem of your right nav scrolling.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We fixed the problem on one of the pages, but after the meeting, I realized that when I went into the other pages, the problem was still there, and that the fix that we applied in the CSS code actually caused different issues on the other pages. So I believe I actually did find a way how to fix it. And most of the pages are empty, but I have been able to fix it and put up something in one of the pages.
Okay, so can we pass? I'm passing the ball to you, Andrew. If you'd like to share your desktop, and let's give Andrew some suggestions on layout, content, navigation, and even code if we see a problem.
Yeah. Well, this week I worked with my parents to figure out what I want to put into the website, what content I want, and we came up with a Word document of each page with the content.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot here, so I'm not going to go through it all, but this is basically what I have, and I'm going to be working on this and getting the content into the website now that I figured out the format.
Okay. Cool.
So, you know, it's pretty empty. I put in a little bit of content. I'm worried about how it's going to adjust when I put more than just this in.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm you know, still thinking about that. Not bookmark. Oh, you know what? Sorry, just open that. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys what happens with the code when we put in the margins. Wait, that's not it. Oh, there it is. When we put in these margins to center it, we did everything the right way, except we only had one of these programs. So we only had like this in, and we had that. So that's what we had at the end of the meeting, and it didn't work. It looked like it worked, but it didn't really do anything because it was the wrong code. So by looking at a couple other websites, I found out that by doing this, when you auto the right and left margins, that it's gonna that's gonna work the way that we wanted it to. And I also took out a couple of borders and tables to make sure that the thing didn't crash like it did before.
Wow. Okay, and this is all stuff you figured out by looking at other websites. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, Andrew. Okay.
Yeah. So right now I was just trying to get the rest of the stuff in, or the rest of the content in on one of these pages.
So can you display the page that you think is you know, the most complete? And let's just critique that page. Guys, anyone have any suggestions or thoughts for Andrew? Let me start. I love, I've said this before, I love the way you plan your website, outlined it in Word or before that in PowerPoint. You know, I would, can you go back to that planning document, Andrew? In my mind, in an interview, your planning document is as important or could be as important as your actual result. In other words, I have a feeling that, you know, viewers are certainly interested in a good result, but they also may be interested in the process that you took to get to that result, in your thinking, your philosophy. You know, it's one thing to code, it's another thing to think it out and address a particular problem. Okay, so interest, volunteer work. Okay. So you divide it into sections. You know, okay. One suggestion I might make, Andrew, if you're going to use this document as something that you might, you know, if someone asks you the question, okay, well, how did you arrive at your result? Can you show me your thinking or explain your thinking? Typically, when you're developing a website for anything, you start with who's the target audience. You try to profile that target audience by describing their hot buttons, what they're looking for, and then you try to set your goals for that target audience. What's the action you want that target audience to take, and what are the points that you have to make in order to get the target audience to do the action. So you have, in this document, all the points that you want to make, all the sections. I would, subconsciously, you've thought about who this is going to, but I would, if you're going to use this document as, you know, a record of your process or your lab book, I would put at the top, the target audience are admissions directors at the 5 or 6 schools that you're applying to. And then I might add, yes, much like you did in your PowerPoint, I would add what their hot buttons are. They're looking for leaders, they're looking for breadth of interest, they're looking for people who have very deep, passionate interests. And then I would and then this, what you have in your Word document here logically follows. Okay, here are the things that I have to present on the website that address that target audience and help me get to my goals. Any thoughts from a project management point of view, Aditi, at Gillette? How would they approach, if you were given the assignment of designing a website to present one of the projects you're working on, how would you attack that PowerPoint? Or how would you attack the planning process?
I actually really agree with what you said, is that, yeah, your target audience, but I think you've done a really job laying it out. Your planning document is great, like it's very thorough, and I think that'll make making the actual website very easy, which is kind of the point of the planning document. But I definitely agree with everything that's been said.
Great. I've been brainwashed to think as a project manager that the development part of your whole project process, project management process, is at most 30% and maybe even 20% of your total time if you do your planning properly.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. If you don't do your planning properly, your development time is going to take 90+% of your time, because you're going to end up redoing it and you'll end up with a rat's nest. But if you take the time to define your target audience and your goals and your strategy, that the development work will happen very, very, very quickly. Josh, any thoughts on that from your perspective? you know how much I drill this into you. Are you starting to see the value of this, or do you have a different perspective?
I mean, yeah, it definitely helps to be able to plan out your website. If for no other reason, then it really shows that you think about your website before just going into it. Being able to present this kind of a document to, I guess, someone who's doing college admissions, that you'd be able to show that you aren't just going in blind. You really plan out your work.
Right.
Yeah, you do this kind of thing with a level of professionalism.
Perfectly put, Josh. This planning document shows your professional approach to solving problems, your mature, thoughtful, logical approach to solving a problem. And I think that that could be a very important part of your interview. I have a great essay, I have great scores, I have, yeah, all of this, but if they get insight into your thinking process, I have a feeling that that could be very, very valuable in your interviews. Okay, guys, any thoughts? Did Michael get back in? I guess not. Okay, guys, any thoughts? Let us know. Let Aditi, Josh, and I know what we can do to help you. It's in everyone's interest here for you to get into the schools of your choice. It's certainly in your interest. It's also clearly in our interest because you guys are our success stories, and we like to point to you as examples of what can happen if you stay with Build It Yourself over a period of time, as all of you have. You're like our poster boards for Build It Yourself. So we want you to get into the schools of your choice. It's in our interest to help you do that. Can you tell us what we can do to make your application processes more easier or more effective? Does practicing presenting your websites, sort of role playing, Aditi, Josh, and I could pretend to be admissions directors, and you're in an interview and we could ask you questions, or you present your websites, is that useful? Or do we need to go over graphic design? We could get John Sachs in again to help with the graphic design of your websites. Anyone have any thoughts? Give us some feedback so we can maximize the benefits to everyone here. Okay. I'll assume that this is helpful to all of you. If not, tell us what we can do we'll do a couple more of these, maybe one or two more, and then we'll go back to web development projects. Unless, of course, someone has a particular question on their website. Okay, Aditi, thank you for joining. And Josh, thanks. Guys, have a good week.
Yeah, you too.
See you next week.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, Val. Bye, Travis. Bye.
Oh.
Hey, Val.
I want to
Hi,
ask you
Val.
about it. Do you have some several
Sure.
minutes?
Sure.
I want to ask you about the recommendations.
Sure.
because
Sure, Val.
I haven't thought about this much because the SAT are like it's the next SAT date is coming, and I'm studying for this, and this is my focus right now. But I see that time flies. I won't talk to you about it.
Of course. I'd be delighted to write a recommendation for you, Val. From your, I mean, I think I have a pretty good, I usually, you know, suggest to, I'm writing a recommendation for Andrew, and we've gone through a number of meetings together, actually with Andrew's parents as well, to try to fine-tune the recommendation so that it complements, so that it reinforces what your essays are saying and the points that you really want to make. Based on the fact that, you know, we worked so closely over the summer, I think I know a lot of that. But if you can send me your essays, I can try to fine-tune the recommendation so that it reinforces the points that you're trying to make in your essays. Or if you'd like to just tell me directly, you know, I'm looking for confirmation that I have, you know, these qualities, that I have demonstrated these qualities. If you like, I can write a draft and send that to you, and then we can, you know, we can fine-tune that draft so that, again, it complements the rest of your application. That's exactly what I'm doing with Andrew.
Okay, the problem is that I haven't really started writing my essay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean,
also, yeah, go ahead. So what if I start by drafting a recommendation to you, and then when your essays are completed, we can fine-tune the recommendation to complement your essays.
Okay.
Does that work for you?
I think
Okay.
that will work. Yep.
One of the things, Val, I think we should be conscious of, and that is that some schools, I think pretty much all recommendations are often submitted in confidence. That is, they go directly to the school. They don't go through you. I think we just need to be conscious. I think the spirit of that, my interpretation of the spirit of that, is that if someone is writing a recommendation, that recommender may want to be, I don't know, they may want to be anonymous, or they may want their recommendation not to be known by the, you know, by the person they're writing the recommendation for. You know, I think differently about that. I actually like people that I'm writing recommendations for to draft the recommendation themselves early on in the process of our relationship, and then I like to try to grow our relationship so that we can make those recommendations come true. So I like to work closely with our students and our employees to develop their portfolio together, their portfolio and thus their recommendation. So that's just my philosophy, and so long as we're not violating the spirit of the rules that colleges have, and in my mind we're not, I assume you feel the same. We don't want to violate any spirit of the law.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So the next step, Val, is I'll draft a recommendation, and then if you send me your essays, I'll try to fine tune that so it complements, reinforces your essays.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else we should talk about?
I'm just thinking about, I don't know how other people do this, but you know that different schools will have different supplements with different essays,
Right.
so that you will write 1 or 2 essays that are common for everyone, and then
Yep.
for each school you write something else. So do you need me to send you everything, or?
No, just send me you don't even need to finish the essays, Val. You can just send me a short email that says, these are the 2 or 3 or 4 points that I most want to get across to the schools I'm applying to. It doesn't, you don't even have to send me your essays. I mean, I think that's a useful planning exercise. Try to focus on, you know, maybe no more than 5, and maybe 3 or 4 are even better, that are really strong selling points. I mean, you're basically selling yourself here, and you want to outline before you write your essays. I mean, this is the way I would approach it. You want to outline before you write your essays, what are the 3 or 4 most important impressions I want to leave with the admissions director. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This is the process that Lee Yuan and I went through when he was applying to MIT. We went exactly through this process. Let's focus on 3 or 4 key points that you want to make in your essays, and then let's try to write those essays and the recommendations so that they complement or reinforce those main points. That's a logical strategy, no?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is.
All right. Josh, do you have any input to that?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Do you have any, I know you may have been doing other things, but we're talking to Val about how do we coordinate input that Val will submit to her. How do we plan to write the input that Val will submit to the schools she's applying to? Val's applying to, you know, really top-notch schools.
Oh, and she just asked you to write a letter of recommendation?
Right. And so we're just trying to coordinate the planning of that. And the point I was making to Val, before she writes her essays or before I write a recommendation, it would be useful to synchronize 3 or 4 key points that we want to get across that are unique or powerful about Val's application to MIT and Stanford and Caltech and so forth.
Yeah, definitely 3 or 4 strong points. Maybe even just a theme to tie it all together.
And a theme to tie it all together. That's a good point. Yeah. Sort of a tagline, a one-line introduction that you know, in the first 30 seconds or the first 15 seconds, you sort of set the stage for what you're going to do in your website, in your essays, in your application, in all of your references. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Val, sorry.
I think I'm a bit scared of all that process because it is not something that I've been told. like what does it take to write a group essay? Yeah.
What, have you been taught something different? Have you been taught a different way?
Well, I haven't been told anything because last year we use only the grades, like from your final exam and from your entrance exam, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't need to write anything.
Right.
So I think that, yeah.
Okay, so, you know.
If at some point you can see what I have written and done and everything, I will be happy to try.
Sure, sure.
If it's how it is.
Sure, I'm happy, and we can ask Aditi and Josh and Lee Wan to add their comments. They've all had very successful application processes to top schools, so their input is surely more valuable than my input. My input is really from a project planning point of view and from a selling point of view. I mean, I basically view this process as you're trying to sell a product. In this case, the product is you. And so my comments are from the point of view of a project management manager working in a company. How would you approach this? And Lee Wan and Josh and Aditi's comments would be more relevant to a student applying to a top-notch school and their experiences. Okay, so if you like, I can send me and copy Lee Wan and Josh and Aditi. I think that their input would be very, very useful.
Okay.
And they're all eager to help you, trust me. We're all very eager to help you.
And I'm very happy to see that.
Okay. All right, Val. Onward. I'll draft something. If you'd like to send me a short email with your thoughts about 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 points that you want to make,
okay.
And then we'll try to adjust to that.
Okay.
Okay. Onward and upward. Have a good week, Val.
All right. Yeah. And good luck with your essay, Val.
Thanks. Bye, John. Bye, Josh.
Bye.
Bye.
Gosh, thank you for sitting in here. Any quick observations? Are these webcasts? What's your reaction to them? Are they interesting? Are they constructive?
Yeah, it's just interesting to see how all the interns are coming along, just seeing their progress week to week.
Yeah, very interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so John, I actually wanted to point out, so I started a recording earlier, but I don't know what happened to it. I think when you became the host, I might have either stopped recording or like it got transferred to you, because we are using the same account for recording.
We've got to fix that. We've got to have 3 or 4 admin accounts. And we have to understand what happened, to things like recordings when several admin people are on together.
Yeah, because I see the little message in the corner that's saying it's recording, but it might be you that's controlling it right now.
Yeah. Okay. End meeting. Okay. Where's recorder here? Recorder. Yeah, recording. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I first came on, I didn't see any of these recording